Hello, hello. Welcome. Citrus. Okay. We've got the review stickers here. That tells me what you want me to review. I noticed there's one way over here. So I think this one is maybe the pose that's trying to match the pose for this, for the actual illustration. So we'll get to that one last, but I want to talk about these real quick. You're still a little off with the pelvis. I see that you've drawn in the musculature, which is good. But I think what you can do now is you need to just draw the musculature out with some reference, right? So what you need to do is, let me just go to this other window real quick. Let me pull up a crochet. We'll pull up this one here, maybe. Let me just copy. You can pull any of these up you want, really. This one is a rather large image. Okay. So I think the next thing you need to do, because you've got the muscle groups outlined on the body, and they're fairly accurate, but I think what you really should do is just practice drawing the écorché on its own, because you need to understand all the different parts of the écorché of the body, the musculature. You need to understand all the different parts so that when you're drawing the different poses, you'll understand what you need to include, because we're still getting some funkiness with the pelvis. So let me just, I'll draw here in Miro. Let's get some blue. So you have like the chest region, and then you've got like the abs, and you've got all these muscles here. The what are these called? The strati. I can't think of what the names. The whole point is of these side muscles, and then what you always seem to have trouble with these drawings is there's this part here that goes down, and then you've got the butt, right, the gluteus, and then this go down here, gets into the groin area. Okay, maybe the butt's not that big, but okay, so you have a good time drawing this top part, and then you're getting hung up on this pelvis region. So that's kind of why I think you should just take a look at this and draw the pelvis. I can't put it up on here because this is going onto YouTube, but you should just look up some nude figures. Get some nude figures. They can be sculptures, like whatchamacallit, like a classical sculptures. If you want something like this, I could probably put up here because it's a classical sculpture. Take a look at how the body's moving, draw it, practice drawing the nude figure, so you can really start understanding the different parts of the body. Yeah, so I think this is something you could just practice on your own later. In terms of what we're doing with the illustration, I think we can move on, but I think you practicing this stuff will just help you in the long run, right? But yeah, so I would suggest there's I believe the website's called Line of Action. Line of Action. Line of Action has nude models on their website. I'm just gonna put that in here for you with the sticky note. line of action. So go to line of action and spend some time drawing the naked people. Try to lock in. Really think about the pelvis. This because you keep getting confused with it. The other thing I would say is like it's hard because he's wearing these kind of like slightly baggier pants on the groin area, but just kind of like tracing over what's going on here. It would help if you really understood, like, so you've got that stomach, his belly button, and then he's going to have the pelvis region here. The leg, as we discussed last time, the leg goes up towards the back. So you just need to add that region in, and there's something like you see just how I drew it in here. You just get the space. You just need the space for it, because where you've drawn it, it's like this like crunched up section, and I think just it's the angle of this drawing. I'm sorry, it's the angle of this photo with the clothing. It's confusing you. It's a little more off on this one. This one is like pretty off in terms of the muscles, what's going on. This first one looks a little better. But like I said, I think we can move past this and you can just practice some life drawing on the side. You should do some warm-ups each day with some life drawing. Maybe do, I don't know, 5 poses at 5 minutes a piece. That's 15 minutes, right? sorry, it's not 15 minutes. That's 25 minutes. 5 poses at 5 minutes, 25 minutes. Maybe do 15 minutes. Do 3 poses at 5 minutes. Just do some kind of warm-up where you're drawing the body, just to lock in your anatomy better. And you'll get better the more you do it. So like it would be something you do like once a day in the mornings or in the evenings. Just spend some time drawing a little bit, and you'll get better as you go. So let's put that on the back burner. That should be ongoing practice. And let's go over here to this reference here, which is kind of guide your it's going to guide your actual illustration. It's looking pretty close. There's a few things that are off that I'm seeing. There's some issues with the leg, and it's a little tough. You've got like the way you've drawn the knee, and it does look similar here. You gotta just when you're drawing the knee, you need to remember that it's 2 different bones. For some reason, in your drawing, it looks like a noodle, like a bent tube. But really, it's like there's a bone that stops here, and then there's a bone that stops here, and then there's a little bone that floats on top. So it's not actually like a tube. It's more like a structured bend. You see how right here in the leg there's like a pinch point where the muscles squish together. It's like pinching. When you look at your own leg and close your leg, put your knee out and then open your knee and just look at how the muscles deform and how the skin like kind of gets pinched in there. Some of your construction lines are a little confusing with the torso, specifically the chest. I don't know what. Let me switch my color real quick. I don't know what these lines are. These is this like X you drew in here? I don't know what those are referencing. The pectoral should go here, and then I'm just kind of analyzing it. Yeah, you drew his stomach kind of out, but if you look, this guy's like super skinny. his stomach's going in, like it's curved in with his body. This is another, the compression here. Compression is seen on the interior, and then the stretching is on the exterior. And you're gonna get that with like all the body parts. Like we just talked about the leg, where the compression's here, and the stretch is here. So keep that in mind. You're doing like a noodle thing with the arms. You've got this like curve that doesn't exist in the actual arm. The actual arm is like, again, it's a bone. Remember, it's a rigid bone, and then there's a connection point, and then there's another rigid bone here. So you got like straight, kind of like these straight lines almost. They're not really straight, but they're straighter than what you're drawing currently. You see how the biceps almost like straight here? It almost like a straight line. You can construct this with straight lines and it will still look correct. Might be something to exercise, try. And then I noticed the traps here. Look how it bulges out. On yours, it's kind of flat. These are a bunch of little things that I'm noticing. You could do with drawing this guy a couple more times, especially because this pose is going to be the pose you're referencing for your main illustration here. This is basically that pose. So I think you could go, I mean, you can redraw this as much as you need to, as many times as you need to. Let me just move this here. I'm going to move it over towards the illustration. It looks like this is the one. It looks similar. So maybe you mean to reference it, maybe you don't. But this pose should inform that one. You don't have to change the actual pose in your drawing. You should just allow this reference to inform this pose. So you might change a few things, like with the torso maybe, because again you're crunching in these characters with his like rib cage is here, and then like his stomach is all here, and then his like pelvis is here. It's like, it's kind of not, you're not allowing space for like his organs and his, the interior. I would say get really comfortable with this pose. Like, if you need to draw this like 10 times, draw it 10 times. Make that be the only thing you do. Do pose drawings, and then do some life drawing. Do that in combination, and you'll start getting really comfortable. And then tackle this drawing. So what's the next thing you should deliver? It could be these poses. I mean, if you just want to show me the work that you did 10 of the poses, it's more important that you absorb the information than it is that I like. Me seeing the pose is fine, but you need to be absorbing the information to apply it to this drawing. So I think what you can do, let's make a little list here for you. I think you can do life drawings. Let's just say 3. Let's say 3 per day. I don't know what your schedule's like, but try doing 3 per day. You can do them like 5 minutes each. They can be quick drawings, or if you want, you can do 10 minutes each. Okay, so you can do one or the other. It's up to you. The next thing you need to do is practice the skateboarding pose. I want you to just do it like 10 times. 10 times. So start from scratch and draw it 10 times. They should improve each time. It shouldn't be like you draw it once, then you draw it again, you rush it, and it kind of looks crappy. Draw it the first time, take a good look at it, maybe wait a day, then draw it again the next day. Maybe draw it 2 times the next day. But each time you draw it, it should look more correct. Okay? You should be improving with each time you draw it. And you'll know it. You can, like, look at how this leg looks here. If you were to draw it again, what would you do differently when you really look at this leg here? One of the things I notice on his leg is that this knee has this like shape here. It's almost like a front. And then this whole section of his leg is kind of like front facing. And then this part, it's more rounded. So you got this front facing plane, and then you got this more rounded plane, and then on the top it's like kind of like doing this. So it's more rounded on top. But there's like a section here where it's almost like a flattened plane that you can see. I'm going to erase it just real quick because I want you to take a look at it again. That's something I notice whenever I see the knee here. So keep that in mind. Okay. 10 minutes practice pose. Then finally, I think what you... Oops. It's the wrong tool. Finally, which I think you need to do is just start doing... Let's call them the rough sketches for final illustration. So that means start doing the sketch for like this guy, her, and him. I want you to start getting the sketches for all of them done. Roughs only. It doesn't need to be completely clean. Keep them rough because we're going to be like refining them over and over again. How many times are we going to refine them? As many times as we need to. That's how it works with illustration. If you do a rough drawing and it's pretty, prone to error, you just do another drawing on top, clean it up. If it still looks a little rough, clean it up again. You just keep cleaning up the lines until you lock in that final that you want. So because that process is going to be so iterative and repetitive, I want to get you started on that now because I feel like you're going to get bored just, like drawing this thing 10 times isn't like necessarily fun. It's not like a thing that's like, oh, I really wish I could draw the same image 10 times in a row. I don't think most people would want to do that. So we'll get past that and then start getting into the final illustration, okay? And I think the main thing to consider, the other thing to consider is these characters are stylized, right? So you're kind of doing a tricky illustration thing where we're studying all this realistic stuff. We're studying how the body moves in space and all the muscle groups. But in the end, these characters are going to be stylized. So we got to keep that in mind. So I'm going to try and guide you through that process as you do these final drawings. I'll try and guide you, like, where can we simplify? Where can we cut corners to capture the style of the characters? Because we don't want them to be, like, super realistic Gorillaz characters. We want them to still look like the Gorillaz characters, right? So, where are they down here? Here's like this would be something to reference as you're going about this. Here's like some gorilla art, right? They're pretty simple, you know. The only reason I'm pushing you to be so precise with the anatomy is that your characters that you're drawing are in complicated poses that you need to be able to sell with the volumes. Like the skateboard pose won't look 100% correct if you don't understand the volumes. So by the time we're done with this, it should look like an impressive Gorillaz illustration that keeps the style and that showcases what you can do with the stylized character. So yeah, maybe pull. Maybe that's the other thing I want you to do. Pull up as many Gorillaz refs as possible. I'm talking like official art. No fan art. Do the official art. Like let's make believe you were hired by the band to do a special poster. And I want you to like have to reference the official art. That would be like a real job you might have to do. So I misspelled Gorillaz. So fine, do that. So take some time to pull up as many of these images as possible. Make sure you do your life drawings. This thing up here, let's star that one. That's something you should always do. Just do some practice every day. This is a specific thing you should do. This is a specific thing you should do. This is a specific thing you should do, right? But the star, keep that in mind that this is something you should just get in the habit of starting to do more practice, regardless of what you're working on. And all the best stylized illustrators know how to draw realistically. That's one of the things you're going to find out as you develop further in your career, is that the best stylized illustrators are often really good at regular anatomy, and that's what makes their stylized images so good, is that they understand the basics and fundamentals, and they know where to push and pull those shapes. Okay, so I hope that makes sense for you. Let's see what happens. So send me your updates. Hope you have a good rest of the week, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.